Family yet?
Yes, I should have done well.
Well, you can tell me that we have that all, and then it's still working.
We were asked to look at a possibility of putting a shooting range at the back side of the judicial complex behind the pole barn. We put together a program for that work. It's very, very, very preliminary. It's taking advantage of an existing berm that's located there, some excess soil we had on site, created a berm, and we just brought that for you guys to look at and see if it's something we want to proceed.
Anybody got any questions? Now's the time to ask.
So this is just informational, right, so we can research?
Until we have better estimates.
Okay.
Yes, this is for us to generate our questions on.
All right.
That's correct. I'm making sure.
Basically, that berm that was there now, we're about probably 2/3 of the soil that we'll need for that berm to create a farming range is not there, and we're hoping to utilize, if we go forward, utilize a lot of the debris from the paving and Dunbar from 3 nights ago down to the so we utilize that, and then utilize what they're there on site, so we don't have to bring in from off-site. Trying to, again, this is just a very, very preliminary, just for you guys to look at and see if there's something you want to consider moving forward.
When could we set up a time possibly to meet you out there or at least me? I mean, whoever wants to come, be more welcome to, but I know I'd like to meet one of y'all out there on site.
I'd like to see it.
I'll go through that. Yeah, but either Thursday, we've got a meeting, if y'all want to meet Thursday.
I'll be in a training class till lunch Thursday in practice, so.
Just do it, we get back with McKinsey and get up with you and figure out what day we can do it.
Yeah, I can come anytime.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Tom.
Engineer report.
Thank you for the tour today.
You guys, I'll tell you what, I thought that went really, really well. I appreciate everybody, the interest.
Yeah.
And, I just thought we had a very, very good.
We appreciate
the contractor, that cleaned up the site really well.
They done good. Appreciate it.
They do better.
Good evening. Good evening. We have under new business, under equipment, we will be selling the triaxle dump trucks in the J.M. Wood Spring auction, and y'all actually approved that back in November. But we never did get you to declare those items surplus, and so that's in the agenda tonight, and I believe that auction is the week of the
21st through 24th.
Yeah, there you go. You got it right. Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to suspend the rules and go ahead and approve that tonight, it's really just a formality that would, make sure that it gets done on time. And then, the next item we have under current business is under personnel. We do have an emergency, sort of emergency FMLA request that was handed out to you today. And this happened after the agenda package was put together. And then the third and final thing that we have is the proposed vacation of a portion of County Road 2233. That's the better known as the LNLH road. So we did get the petition back from the landowners, and so that's presenting that to you. It's in your agenda package. So the next I think the next step there is to set a public hearing date for that. So, Alan, they want to weigh in on that, you know, we'll give them enough time to do all the required advertising and everything.
Anybody got any questions? Okay, thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
EMA, Mr. Herbert.
I only have one item, it's under current business, it's actually two parts to it, but I need to get approval for the commissioner to sign, chairman to sign on these two hazard mitigation grants. We have received two of them back, ready to be funded. This is on the weather radio project and the promotion of our notification system. The others should be following based on conversation I had. We have had to make some changes to the one in Grundy because we're relocating the location of the storm shelter, so we've got to resubmit some paperwork. Not a big thing, but we had to do that, we'll have to resubmit it. The only other thing I got is we had our LEPC meeting since I've last been here. I think we had a really good attendance, probably 25, 30 people. The big issue among everybody was school shootings and the safety in our schools, so we're going to try to focus on that. That seems to be the big topic among people out. Would that be a fair assessment? Would be the school shootings? I think would be the number one concern that that particular group had. It was a good cross section of first responders, school personnel, administrators from along banks. Mayor was there, city coordinator was there, so they're really good turnout for that. So we're going to work with that particular topic and see what we can do to enhance safety in our schools.
Questions? Thank you, Mr. Herbert.
Okay, thank you.
Attorney report.
No report, just a little add on to what was said about the road vacation. We all know the protocol, we got to check it out and make sure the title's good and everybody's on either side of the road is signing the petition. Once we get to that point, then we'll come back and set a hearing date. That's phase one, so we got to get that done.
Anybody got questions?
And there's no rush from what I talked to Jim, I talked to everybody, so I think Russell agrees, there's no rush on that.
Okay. Does any commissioner have any report at this time?
Just remember the legislative session opens March 7th, so the last couple start moving. So if something comes up, let me know. If it's something that you'd like me to work as your legislative board member. One thing came up today, and Russell, I probably should have mentioned this while you were up there. I kind of took this as you would agree, you and Derek, but so ACCA is trying to get language in the bill that's allocating the rest of the state's ARPA money to include stormwater runoff, and you could probably describe a lot more than just stormwater. But so talking to our elected officials, they were on board with that, and there seemed to be no issue from the people who represented that. So we did reach out and do that together. And then Commissioner Pearson and I were on a call with DECA the other day. There's a meeting coming up in March. The notification just came out, by the way. McKinsey, I forwarded this to McKinsey so you can make sure all of you got it. There'll be a public meeting March the 9th at the courthouse. It's a Wednesday. Wednesday, March 9th. The agenda is in the email that she's got. And so really what they're trying to do is DECA's trying to work alongside a lot of the counties and come up with a plan. The name of the program is Alabama Community Broadband Technical Assistance Program. And this is part of their outreach. It's some federal funding. And it's the 8th. I may have that wrong, but I can't remember when it's Thursday, but Mackenzie's got the email invitation, I just forwarded it to her, she'll send it to all y'all with the agenda and everything. There's a breakout for elected officials, there's a breakout, there's a section that's just us, where that talks to just us. There's a section where they bring in the providers that are interested in your communities, you can talk to them, and then there's a section that's public. And so, I know all of y'all have reached out to me at some point or another about a broadband question. So if you've got that constituent that's always on you, or always asking, or wondering why their area doesn't qualify for grants and things, this is the meeting to bring them to, so they'll be face to face with the people that are setting the progress, or setting the rules. Just look at your email, look at that breakdown if there's any other questions. Yeah, so not to get too inside baseball, but this is a federal program. There's two different definitions of this program is only for unserved. There's two different definitions if you're talking federal funds or if you're talking state funds. All right. So the definition of unserved in this program that they'll be discussing this day is broadband at speeds less than 25 and 3, which is a lower threshold than the state of Alabama considers to be unserved. But it has to be, if you've got somebody that's complaining because their internet's not fast enough, it's probably not going to qualify. It's really for people that don't have. This is money from the BE program from the federal government, and their number one goal is to touch people who have zero coverage, which they consider anything else from federal. I think that's the main point. That's it.
On Wednesday of this week, we have been asked to come to the bank school and read for their reading initiative program. I know I'm going to go, and I think Mr. Brown, Mr. Copeland, possibly Commissioner Pearson intends to go. They have asked for a donation, so I'm asking the commissioners to give $100 each out of their discretionary fund. If that's okay with you, you can let me know.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, we'll get that done. We just get one check for $600 and take that out of all of us. So. And other than that, it's the administrator report.
It's been a fun day. We've had lots going on today. Under my report, under the first item on the administrative report is FMLA request. We have one in our office for an employee, and then also, I believe in front of you now, you have got another one that came from the probate office that came in after the agenda went out for another one. I would ask, the one in our office happened kind of already, and so I do kind of would like to have rules suspended because it'll affect how they'll need time and whether or not people can get employee time or not. The one for the probate office that can roll forward is not, it's going to be in the future that'll be need to approve for. That's all under my report. Under current business, there is a contract change order for TCU that has to do with the judicial and jail building. It's because of the extension of time. They have requested additional funds to help pay for the fact that they're working on this project a little longer than anticipated. That is in their package. Tommy and I worked together and were able to reduce the original request by about $95,000. So it's a lot better than it did look, but we are looking to get that approved tonight by the commission. Don't have any questions on that, I'll go ahead. The next item would be number 7, the ABC Board county levies. This is something we've just not made any changes to. We do the maximum levies here for alcoholic beverage sales in Pike County, and so I would ask that we continue to do that so that we can get that approved and sent back into the state. Number 8, a retirement resignation of our county engineer. Congratulations, I'm jealous. It is what it is. We need to accept that resignation and decide how to move forward on that. So I don't have anything on that. The next item would be personnel of the road department. They do y'all have already talked about this, so the FMLA, I don't know why I tried to jump in your business, I'm sorry. And then under item number 11, there's the hazard mitigation grants. We've got the awards for the weather radio project and the Pike County warning system notification that we'll need to approve so that we can move forward with those grants. There should be an item number 12, that's my fault, with some miscommunication, we may not be in here, but y'all approved to move forward with getting a resolution ready for local law for the voting precinct center. There's a draft of the resolution that may need some fine tuning, but it's pretty much the gist of what we'll need to do to move forward with the local legislation to create that voting center. It would be, correct me if I'm wrong, precinct 18 would no longer exist where it exists now. It would be moved to Hepzibah voting district. A portion of those voters that are 18 would move to the Hepzibah. There would be some that would went to another voting site closer to where those census blocks are. It also would have the voting center, the reason for that, it would have some voting members that would be a part of District 6 and some precinct changes for where they would go and vote. But I think everything is good on what the decision is, but we do need to fine tune and make sure the wording's right in the resolution.
Where is it going to be number 36 or 7 in District 6, the new number? And I'm getting clarification, I got somebody looking into that right now.
I may be higher than that because I've noticed that the way the Board of Registrars they have a list 35 through 39 they have set aside for the Brundage voting precincts. And so I'm wondering if it's not going to be at 40. So we need to get some clarification on that.
When I first approached Judge Vine about this, there were some discrepancies in some of the way we had precincts numbered, some of the way he had them numbered, and some of the way that the Board of Registrars had them numbered. And that's why we're getting some clarification. If you look at this resolution tonight, you'll see a question mark in front of the precinct number. That's the one we're talking about, I'm unsure. But basically, there's a couple of tracks that voted at Goshen Town Hall. There's a couple of census tracts that voted at First Baptist Church that will come into the District 6 portion of the Hepzibah Voting Center. And then approximately half of the old Little Oak precinct will vote at Hepzibah. The southern half will move over and vote at Henderson, which is actually closer to their house than Scott Farms even is in that southern area. So that's really the move, is to get those up around Hepzibah that are really close. There's some people that are driving into Goshen that live next to Hepzibah that now will vote really next door. And then there's some people in my district that were driving out of, say, Town and Country and going all the way down to Scott Farms, almost in Henderson. So it's it does make, and that's what the resolution states, it makes it a lot more convenient and a lot easier for all these people to be able to vote.
And this is something usual that happens after a redistricting, and we find little issues like this that have to be fixed. The last one we did was in 13, which came from a precinct, the redistricting that happened in 2011. So
We did 4 or 5 or
I know.
6.
It's been a long
Just within
time.
a couple of years, it was 08, 9, 10, 11, 13, back in that time. The procedure for doing it has not changed. You gotta get a resolution here, setting out what you're doing, establishing the voting center, identifying the precinct, which be in it, precincts, and then doing getting a proposed local act drafted, and then have it published in the paper. That's all that's required here, so we've got to get that, I guess, that last remaining piece of information, then we can move forward. But we're kind of using those templates to make sure that, and we just need to get a little bit more information there.
If there's any questions on this, we will ask to approve this resolution tonight. I got last week, or last meeting, I had my computer and kind of showed everybody what they look like. If anybody still has questions, we'll do it in the break again.
But that's all I have.
Okay, anybody got any questions or comments?
Yeah, number 6, subdivision regulations, what is this before we go
Well, so I asked to put that on, and that was just before we got the resignation letter from our engineer. So I kind of asked him, not necessarily to take it off, but to postpone our conversation about that until we fix that. What I'd asked to do, what I wanted to do is to get a group together, some of us obviously, and some people in the community, to take a look at our subdivision regulations. This kind of goes along with point 4 on the current business. And there's some things that are changing between with us and the city of Troy and our relationship in the police jurisdiction and outlining this. And just use this as an opportunity. It may turn into nothing, Commissioner, but give us an opportunity to look at it, make sure that we're doing what we think is best and what the community thinks is best.
So that's gonna be taken off for a while, or you gonna leave it on there and just come back, let it come back, or what you want to do?
I'm open either way, whatever.
Just leave it on.
Yeah, I'm.
The last week, I've been asking some people to work.
I talked with Ashton Estes about it. They have, the South Central has some, kind of grant stuff available that can work with subdivision regulations depending on how deep or how far you want to go. We're
Okay.
working on that, so that may be another group you want to include in a planning meeting.
Great.
Yeah, and kind of the idea is, look at the things that are gonna change. I've asked Melissa with the city who has that to be involved. See what's gonna change, see if our regulations need to change to take care of any of that, or will there be any shortfalls. If everything and everybody thinks it's okay, then we'll just say, okay, all right. If not, then we might need to go and do a little more further research.
Sounds good. Thank you. Pike County Commission work session will now come to a close. We'll reconvene at 6 p.m. for the regular meeting.